हाय एवरीवन, एनर्जी है सब में? Are you ready to explore Web3 security now? Let's go. My name is Parekh. First of all, thank you so much everyone for joining today. Exciting faces over here. Web3 security के बारे में learn करने आए, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. Today we are going to discuss about different security issues in Web3. कैसे hackers contracts को breach कर देते हैं? What are those critical security issues? Let's get started. But before that, I want to focus on something more important. All these companies behind me, all companies in the past faced a cyber attack. Not only one, many of these companies faced multiple cyber attacks. And all these companies, they belong to the Web3 ecosystem. Alone, in the past year, 2024, we lost $2.2 billion. In Web3 ecosystem, $2.2 billion were lost to hackers. And if we combine the data of previous many years, starting from 2015, we have lost around $14 billion. Last year alone, only 220 companies were breached, which contributed to $2.2 billion in the whole world. Only 220 companies in the Web3 ecosystem. Some company, they lost 500 million. Some company, they lost 250 million. Some company, they lost only $5 million, $3 million in tokens. But they all contributed together to $2.2 billion. And that's a huge amount from only 200 companies approx around the world. As we grow in this ecosystem, more and more companies, more and more startups are getting funding. And those numbers are not small, because we are dealing in the fintech industry where we minimum talk about $1 billion, $5 billion. These Web3 companies, they don't hold small amount. They start talking at 500 million. And there are many different types of cyber attacks now in the Web3 ecosystem that are emerging every single day, breaching these funds. And whose funds are this? This is our fund. We are the people who invest. Today we are going to learn about different cyber attacks that happened in the past on these companies and trying to learn how can we proactively take steps to make sure that this doesn't happen with any of us if we are running a Web3 company, or if I'm a part of a Web3 company, if I've invested somewhere, I know what's wrong with me. Web3 brings in a lot of potential. I personally believe that. And this is just the starting. There are hardly any companies in the Web3 ecosystem that have boomed. And this is yet to grow because we are seeing so many applications around the world in Web3. We are using Web3 in voting. We are using Web3 in so many applications. But at the same time, Web3, I believe, is somewhere more vulnerable than Web2. And there are a couple of reasons for that. Let's take an example. We compare Web2 with Web3. What is Web2 ecosystem? Web2 ecosystem is based on security layers. Whereas Web3 ecosystem, users get complete control of the data. Am I right? In Web3 ecosystem, you get complete control of your accounts, of your funds, and you're the only sole proprietor. Whereas in Web2 ecosystem, there are security layers. There is consent. You have authorities over you. A very simple example. Tomorrow, if you accidentally share your OTP with someone, and someone made a transaction in the name of you, can you go to the bank, immediately appeal within 24 hours and get your funds blocked and get it back? Is it possible? Because you have higher authorities, you have different security layers who are protecting you. Whereas in Web3, if you accidentally shared your private key with someone, if someone gets access to your wallet, or if there is any kind of attack, those funds are lost forever. You cannot get that back. That is the whole working process of the Web3 ecosystem. Second, in Web2 ecosystem, you have multiple authorities above you, as I explained. You have multi-factor authentication. You have to enter OTP. You have to, for example, if you want to make a larger transaction of $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, can you NFT it to someone? No, we don't have that facility right now. You have to go to the bank. You have to manually do it. So you have more security layers. In Web3, you can straight away send $250 million in blocks, and no one is going to ask you. And this is what exactly happens when a breach is conducted. Third, what's the worst part in Web2 that can happen? A data breach, right? If your data is breached, it is reversible. You can change your personal data. Tomorrow, you can change your email address. You can change your password. You can change your authentication tokens. You can change everything in Web 2, almost everything. In Web 3, it is not reversible. It's gone, so it's gone forever. There is total loss of funds. In the Web 3 ecosystem, there is limited number of tokens. All right? There is limited supply of BTC. If those tokens are hacked, if someone else stole the token from you, can you get them back on the chain? Someone else is going to use it. So there is no recovery. Once a fund is lost, it is lost forever. There is governance and compliance in the Web2 ecosystem. We have RBI, we have SEBI, we have so many compliances, we have UPI, and there are n number of rules that a company has to follow to take part in the fintech ecosystem. Whereas in Web3, there is no proper governance and compliance. So it is still unsaturated or immature market. But it is evolving. These are some of the risks. Remember one thing. It took us more than 20 years to develop a Web2 ecosystem that we are using right now, and it is safe in nature. Companies can now rely on endpoint security, on antivirus, on firewall, and so many other tools. Whereas in Web3 ecosystem, it is still evolving. So those 20 years of hard work has given us the Web2 ecosystem right now, and we have to dedicate this much of hard work and this much of research in the Web3 ecosystem as well, bring in new rules and compliances and educate people around us so that they understand the risk of Web3 ecosystem before diving into it. A very clear and straight example. Remember when IoT devices came in? How we were reacting to IoT security? It was brand new for us. We cannot use standard rules. We cannot use standard testing methodologies on an IoT device. It is completely different. The same case is in Web3. Moving forward, the attack surface in the Web3 ecosystem, for which we are waiting right now. There are some applications that I would like to cover for today. And as you can see, hackers, they mostly target the following platforms: a trading exchange, which is the most common, private wallets of users. Private wallets are also used by trading exchanges, so that part is also covered over there. Online games, which is new platform in the Web3 ecosystem right now. A lot of players are coming in where they're developing online games and giving you rewards in return. And final is smart contracts, the most interesting part of this entire talk, which we will cover at the last. Trading exchanges, there are a lot of trading exchanges that are right now coming in the market. We have a few names in India as well. There are many names in the abroad as well. Every country, almost every country has a trading exchange of their own now in the Web3 ecosystem, and those are booming very quick. But what are some of the most common risks that a trading exchange faces? And this is research. All the attacks that you are seeing on the right-hand side, the hot wallet, the phishing, the insider threat, they're listed in a chronological order. The number one is the attack that has been conducted at the highest time, and slowly, we go into the order. What is a hot wallet compromise? In the Web3 ecosystem, there are two types of wallets. One is a cold wallet, and one is a hot wallet. Organizations, when they have to store funds in millions, billions, they cannot store everything in one single bank account, in one single wallet. They categorize it. There is a hot wallet which is connected to the internet, which is used for daily processing of funds. For example, if you go on a trading exchange such as Binance, you carry out a trade. So the trading exchange, it needs funds, right, to carry the trade. It requires the BTC that you want to buy. So that BTC comes from the hot wallet. Whereas the cold wallet is not connected to the internet. Every platform, it has around 1% to 2% max funds in the hot wallet, which is connected to the internet. Rest of 98% of the funds are in the cold wallet, which is not connected to the internet, which is 100% secure. Okay? Unless and until there is an insider threat and he breaches the wallet. So, maximum number of times, hot wallet was compromised. And one of the most common case of hot wallet compromise, as you can read on the screen, hot wallets are also normal wallets that we use. For example, MetaMask, Phantom, they are similar wallets like this. Every wallet has a key, a private key and a public key. Accidentally, one of the person in the organization leaked the key. It could be GitHub, it could be GitLab, it could be somewhere in the code. I'll show some examples later where we have found multiple private keys in the code itself. And we could immediately log in using that secret key, using that private key in the wallet. So as you can see on the example, this is one of the platform whose developer accidentally leaked the key in the GitHub code. Someone got control of it, and only using the hot wallet, the attacker was able to breach $375,000 from the hot wallet itself, and this was a very small company. Second is phishing, a very common attack in the Web2 ecosystem. We won't deep dive very deep into it, but second, this is the most common one. A lot of people still in the Web3 ecosystem, the trading exchanges, the companies in the Web3 ecosystem, they still face phishing attacks. And those phishing attacks are not normal. Obviously, they are a bit advanced. They are specifically related to Bitcoin and Ethereum and such kind of fishy messages. So that is another risk through which the exchanges get hacked. Third is an insider threat, and this is a very serious threat. I have seen a lot of companies getting breached because of insider threat itself. I was talking about cold wallets. A lot of developers inside the company, a lot of people inside the company, they accidentally or intentionally do some activity because of which this wallets get breached or one of their system can get breached. So this is another threat to the trading exchanges. Next is API exploits. Very similar to the Web2 ecosystem, we have a trading exchange, a front end in front of us. We exploit different types of vulnerabilities over here. Those all are categorized in the API exploits. Improper access control is again followed by API exploits. We are specifically focusing only on Web3 ecosystem, but I'm just covering a couple of attacks that the trading exchanges face. SQL injection is again a bug that trading exchanges face a lot, and they take care of this type of attacks very well. And last is improper calculation validation. I will explain the improper calculation validation in a moment in the last slide when we go into smart contracts. Next is, so we were discussing, these are some of the bad practices. If someone likes to take a photo or a screenshot, they can take it, but we already discussed a couple of mistakes that trading exchanges can make. Number one, they store maximum amounts of funds in the hot wallet, or they are using a single signature wallet. There is a concept. You require multiple signatures to make a transaction in Web3. You cannot only allow one person. For example, हमारे पास check होता है company में, so at least 2 partners or 3 partners have to sign the check. We have this authority, right? We have this access control. Same access control is also implied in the Web3 ecosystem. You need multiple keys. You need multiple people to authorize the transaction. This is one of the mistakes जो trading exchanges कई बार करते हैं, because of which if one of the keys is compromised, the hot wallet is completely compromised. And we'll see a lot of examples of that. API expose कर दी कहीं पे. They grant they grant a lot of excessive permissions to someone. This is another threat. And lastly, lack of sanitization of data and user inputs. We'll cover that later. After that, we go into the next important part, which is hot wallets, or the private wallets that we are using. We'll see a couple of examples and POCs now, जहाँ पे how attackers hack a wallet, ये हमें पता चलेगा. Let's go into API exploits. Phishing is very common. You receive a phishing email that I'll show you at the end. Let's not deep dive into that. Behind me on the screen, you can see a request. There is a request to private key, an API request to user wallet private key, and there is a ID 78. This is a live wallet. This is a wallet that we were testing in our company, and we identified a vulnerability. On changing the ID 78 to 79, we were able to retrieve the public and private key of another user. This is a classic example of broken access control, or an IDOR, which is commonly found in the Web2 ecosystem. The same threat is also found in this application, and your private key is breached. Once your private key is breached, if someone gets access to this private key, he can immediately log in inside your account from anywhere in the world, drain all your funds. He will convert the funds into a different coin, let's say BNB या फिर Ethereum में convert कर दिया. It's impossible to trace them back. You would never ever get that back. This was a very critical vulnerability which was found in a wallet जो बहुत commonly use होता है. After that, this is another vulnerability in the same wallet. There is an API request to seed phrase. Now, if you guys have ever logged in inside a MetaMask wallet, It gives you a 12 character phrase. आपको 12 words देता है. You have to memorize those words, and that is your key in MetaMask to log in inside your wallet. If you want to log in the same wallet in a different computer, you should be knowing either these 12 words or you should be knowing your private key. Sorry. Now, if I know your 12 words as well, I can again log in inside your account. So there was another API request in the same wallet which allowed us to gain access to other users' 12 words key phrase. Using this 12 words key phrase, we were able to again log in inside other users' account. A classic example of, again, IDOR attack. After that, this was a different type of issue. It was because of lack of proper input validation. And there was a lot of sensitive information about the customers that was displayed below in the response. But overall, the logic was, there was a request to API Explorer and unclaimed hotspots. And specifically, the parameter network was accepting only Solana as keyword. If you enter Solana, because this application was built on Solana, so if you enter Solana, you would get the proper output that is expected. But you can check, वहाँ पे spelling mistake भी एक छोटी सी Ethereum में. At the same time, random कुछ भी अगर मैंने input डाला, the API would respond me with pending orders of the customers. उनके wallet की details भी नीचे आ गई थी. So this is another issue that we found in one of the application, which is, this is not a wallet, this is the proper application, an e-commerce application जो Web3 पे बनी थी. After that, as I was talking about private keys disclosed, this is one of the most critical issues जो हमें मिला था. I think there were around 18 or 19 keys over here. Screenshot में थोड़ी सी दिखेगी, around 10-12, but 18 से 19 keys थी. JavaScript file के अंदर hard coded. All the secret keys, all the private keys of the wallets of a particular organization, they were having multiple wallets. काफी सारे wallets बने थे because they were holding a lot of funds. सारे wallets की private keys JavaScript के अंदर hard coded. Once you get the private key, if you reach to the wallet anyhow, can you breach it? This was the most critical issue that we found. So this type of issues are very commonly found still in the Web3 ecosystem. And these are the issues that are exploited in the wild. After that, yeah, this is actually a wallet plus trading exchange kind of platform, not exactly exchange, but this is just a normal vulnerability again, a broken access control, where on the right side, if you see down in the recipient, in the response where the recipient parameter is fetched, those are my bank details. Now, those are dummy details for now while testing, but in reality, on changing the ID from 59462223, if we increment the IDs, whatever transactions are conducted on the platform, accordingly, सामने वाले users की bank details fetch होके मेरे पास आ जाती थी. So this is again a critical issue, and this was identified in a very well-known platform. This is a very, very, very well-known platform जो पिछले I think 8 or 9 years से operate कर रहे हैं market में. After that, a normal phishing email that we receive all the time. So let's not deep dive into it because I think everyone here belongs to security field and they already know. Now, private wallets की couple of bad practices for the users as well and for the exchanges as well or any platform. API security controls में issues आते हैं and wallets के there is insecure key storage. These are the two biggest risks that we identified because of which wallets get breached. After this, what do we have? We have online games. And online games are very similar to the Web2 games जो हम find करते हैं. And there are a couple of API level exploits that are again found over here. One is, yeah, this is a very common exploit where in the game, we were not able to fetch some amount of sensitive information. And over here, there was the score, and score was the amount of coins that that particular user had. At the top over there, there is the Ethereum address, and Ethereum addresses are all publicly available on the chain. Okay, all the Ethereum addresses are publicly available on the chain. I could directly go on the chain, copy an address, paste it at the top, and मुझे सामने वाले user का score दिख जाएगा, which the application was hiding for some reasons. A broken access control issue, and this is another broken access control issue where we were able to modify the profile and address information of the user. So if I modify on the left hand side, if I simply, the EO is the address. It's the Ethereum address of the corresponding account. And below that is all the details associated with that particular account. So you can see there is no authorization token as well in this particular request. So anyone can execute the request from any part of the globe, and immediately the corresponding user's account information is changed. Finally, coming to the smart contracts. Are you guys excited to learn about this? Yes? Now, smart contracts are the heart of the entire Web3 ecosystem now, because a lot of applications are built on top of this. And it is absolutely required to secure them, because this is the part where you are holding billions of dollars. Okay? Again, the vulnerabilities are listed from top to bottom. Reentrancy, if you guys have heard, पिछले 4-5 साल से काफी boom में है. It is still a vulnerability. It is not 100% solved. Developers still make mistake. And for people who don't know, let us quickly dive into what a reentrancy attack is. On the right side, you can see a code. It's a Solidity code, and I want you to quickly jump on line number 11. Line number 11 is a function. This is a contract that is deployed on the Ethereum chain, and this is a donation contract. So a person can donate to the contract, a person can withdraw from the contract. Okay? It is a simple contract. What's the vulnerability in the contract is, on line number 11, you can see there is a function called donate. We donate to someone, right? And that is a function to donate. If you come down on line number 15, we check the balance of a person. So we check the balance of the who is going to donate. The donor's balance is what we are checking there. Two things are clear. Coming down, there is, on line number 19, there is the withdraw function. On the withdraw function, there is a vulnerability called reentrancy. Now understand the logic over here. This is the most important part to crack. There is a contract. I have deposited 5 ether in the contract. How much can I withdraw? Can I withdraw 10 ethers? No. I can only withdraw maximum 5. So that is the condition that is getting checked. If the balance of the message.sender is greater than or equal to the amount. After that, if you come down, there is the boolean, the true or false value of whether the transaction is completed or not. And finally, we are subtracting the value on line number 25. How am I going to exploit this? How am I going to drain all the funds from the wallet? Now in the Solidity, there is a particular function called fallback function. And on line number 24, this is the attacker side of contract now. The attacker writes a contract and he tries to breach the legitimate contract. The receive function is the fallback function. And what happens is, whenever your contract, it receives some funds, and if you have this receive function written in your contract, on receiving ether, the receive function is immediately triggered. आगे के steps बाद में होंगे. If you receive funds, immediately the receive function will be triggered. And मैंने receive function के अंदर क्या लिखा हुआ है? To again call target.withdraw. Again call the withdraw function. So what's going to happen is, what the attacker is going to do is, there is a function attack. In order to withdraw the funds from the contract, I need to have some funds, correct? मैंने 5 डाले तभी मैं 5 निकाल पाऊंगा. So what the attacker is doing is, he is going to first donate 1 ether. After donating, immediately वो withdraw करेगा. Line number 17 and 18. He donates and he immediately withdraws. As soon as withdraw किया, क्या हुआ? Receive function trigger होगा because it is the fallback function, and it will again call the withdraw function. तो वापस से 1 ether आ गया. Again it will, वापस से ether आया तो वापस से withdraw function call होगा. Again 1 ether मेरे में आ गया. The problem is, if you look at the original contract, it is subtracting message.sender minus amount on line number 25 at the end. Ether send हो जाए उसके बाद. But because of the fallback function, original contract वो part तक पहुंचेगा ही नहीं. This is the classic reentrancy attack, and whenever you find a receive function, ये fallback create करेगा to the withdraw. After this, we have a very simple example of missing access controls. I think code पढ़ के ही समझ जाएगा. There are 2 functions over here. The first is change owner function. एक contract का एक owner होता है. if I'm deploying something on the chain, I'll be the owner of that contract, correct? As soon as, now if I have to be the owner, I need to have the access, the right admin controls. If I don't have those admin controls, it's a problem. There are two functions over here, change owner and withdraw. In the withdraw function, you can specifically see there is a require condition. That is, require message.sender should be the owner. That is a classic equal to check. But if you go into the change owner function, there are no checks, which means anyone can execute the change owner function on the chain. Now, if I come on the chain, I find your contract, and what if I add, there is a parameter called new owner. What if I provide my address and execute the change owner function? Would I be the owner of the entire contract now? And if I'm the owner, following that, I can withdraw the funds from the contract. This is a classic example of broken access control. Did you guys understand? Are you sure? कितने लोग को नहीं समझा? नहीं समझा? Okay. Do you want me to go back to it? Fine. Let's just quickly try to understand one more time. There is a change owner function. Anyone can execute that function. If you come down, there is a withdraw function जहाँ पे एक condition रखी है message.sender is equal to owner. So it is checking whether the person who is trying to withdraw the funds from the account is the owner or not. But there are no checks on the change owner function. So anyone can execute that function and become the owner of the contract. Understood now? Next is improper input validation. This is a reward kind of contract. So when you are playing a game, sometimes you get reward. And Web3 में ये बहुत ज़्यादा चलता है to promote the games. If you read the entire code from the top to bottom, what it is trying to do is, there is on line number 2 and 3, it is checking whether the person who is trying to execute the contract is the owner of the reward or not. Okay? But there are no checks. Every reward has a corresponding ID or a ticket. Understand this. Every reward has a corresponding ID or a ticket. There are no checks in the contract whether the person who is trying to execute this particular request, has he already claimed the reward or not. So I can use the same ID again and again and again to claim the same reward. So what's happening is, on line number 2 and 3, there are two require functions on the top. It is getting it has a couple of access controls, whether the person who is trying to execute the contract is the owner of the ticket. That is the one function, that is one requirement. And after that, it is trying to get the claim status of the ticket. However, if I come down in the multi-claim reward function, there are no checks over there whether the person is trying to claim the reward of this particular ticket, has he already claimed or not. So I can execute the second function again and again and again to breach the entire funds from the wallet. There is a classic example of front-running attack. What happens in a front-running attack is, every time I make a transaction on blockchain, I have to pay some gas fees. Okay? Let's assume if I am making a transaction of 5 Ether, I have to give 0.1 Ether. Now, what an attacker will do is, he will come on the blockchain, he would also place a transaction of 5 Ether, and he would give 0.5 Ether. I gave 0.1 as gas fees, he will give 0.5. So what's going to happen is, the miners who execute the transaction on the blockchain, they will prefer me, because I am paying them more gas fees. This could be an attack where, if there is some movement going to come in the market, or there is something that is going to happen, what if I give higher gas fees, a little higher gas fees, make my transaction happen first, and then the other person gets the transaction. And lastly, we have faulty calculations. Faulty calculation is a type of attack where you do not, or accidentally or unintentionally, you do not update the contract properly. For example, you're reducing the funds from the user account, but you're not reducing the final amount from your entire contract. Or there could be any kind of miscalculation in decimals, or there could be a miscalculation. Suppose you are able to provide a negative value in any way, you are able to provide a negative value inside the contract. So that's going to create an arithmetic operation which is not expected. This type of issues are again found in the Web3 contracts. That's all from my side for now. If you guys have any questions, happy to answer that. Anyone? Yeah. Hmm. Okay. In Web3, there is no MFA or token-based authentication kind. See, most of the wallets that we use now, they have a PIN. Either they have a PIN to log in or they have a private key. In many of the wallets, if you gain access to the private key, you can directly log in inside the wallet. To make a transaction, there is no OTP or there is no MFA implemented because the entire process is working on the chain. It has nothing to do with your email or your mobile number. There is no two-factor authentication implemented. So if you execute a transaction, let's say you're using MetaMask, you execute a transaction of 5 Ether, you pay me 5 Ether, all you have to do is enter 5 Ether, enter my address, confirm, and that's it. The Ether will be transferred to me on the chain within 2 or 3 minutes by confirming all the blocks. That's how the process is framed. In this process, there is no implementation or there is no interaction of your email address or your mobile number or any third-party things in the process. So there is no part of OTP that comes in over here. Yes, any other questions? Yes, sir.
So like in general, we have NVD database for CV tracking, right? So considering Web3, is there any such kind of database where we can track what is going on in terms of security, what breach happened, right? So if you can help me to understand if there is any such portal which we can track.
Definitely. So let's assume that the breach happened on the Ethereum network. We have an Ethereum Explorer, which is publicly available. Everything that happens on the blockchain, let it be Bitcoin, let it be Ethereum, let it be Polygon, anything, is public. All transactions, all activities are public. You can directly go on the Explorer. Every chain has its own Explorer. If you, let's take example Ethereum for now. If you search for Ethereum Explorer, you will get your first link, which will take you to the Ethereum Explorer. You will find all the latest transactions listed over there. So assume if there are some huge transactions, $500 million, $500 million, $300 million from one wallet to other, are they malicious? Because, and also you can also verify the authenticity of the addresses. Because most of the exchanges, they provide their addresses as public. They list their addresses somewhere, they claim that this is our address, they show this proof. They also have to show the proof of the collateral that they have, right? So you can track those addresses on the internet, you can take the address from the Ethereum blockchain, search it on the internet, and you will get whose address is this. If it belongs to a public entity, that will be listed to you. Second, for conducting any kind of forensic analysis, again, Explorer is a part of, that's where you find all the information that you need from one wallet to another. After that, what happened? Did it go to some another wallet? That information you can also find on the Explorer itself. So you have to chain everything one after the another and reach to the final wallet. Yes, any other questions? Yes?
So will it happen on every node level, or what kind of database is going to be attacked in SQL?
Okay. The SQL injection attack does not happen on the smart contract part. It happens on the exchange part. It's on the API level or the front end that we use. For example, if you're using a trading, if you're using any kind of exchange, Binance has SQL statements that it runs from front end to back end, right? And then the back end, it goes to the ledger, or the back end goes to a smart contract to execute the transaction. The transaction are again stored in our wallet. If any kind of transaction takes place, that is stored in our wallet. But we are using a front end that is built on JavaScript, or that is built on any kind of database. That's where SQL injection happens. And that is also a very major part to breach the entire funds from the exchange or any kind of application in the Web3 ecosystem as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else from this side? Any questions? Okay, I think we are done.